welcome to Vino Soul Talk. It is your host here, Wendy P. Thank you so much for listening. We are on episode number 10, so it's a big milestone. Thank you for anybody that has been listening the whole time. If this is your first time tuning in, also, thank you very much. I'm having so much fun doing this. So let's get into the business, and then we can get on to the good stuff of this podcast's guests, which we had a very special one this time, and I'll get into that in a minute. So, vinosoul.com, let's talk about that. That's our main sponsor and supporter, founder of this podcast. And if you are a spiritual practitioner who is looking to find clients, vinosoul.com, you should head out there. It's super affordable, and it's a way for people that are looking for holistic practitioners, spiritual coaches, whatever it is that you offer in that wonderful realm of help. They can find you there. So I encourage you to set up a page there. You can post your events, you can post your services, you can link to any other websites you might have, or just use vinosoul.com as your website. I mean, setting up a website is a lot of work. Why work more than you have to, right? Okay, great. So go check that out. If you are a client that is looking for something in particular, trying to find somebody in your area that can help you with something, vinosoul.com is also a perfect resource for you. There's no charge if you're a client to use it. You can just go and you can find people based on their modality and their geographical location. And it's a really awesome place to find those people, because I know from my own experience and from what people have told us in feedback and building Vino Soul is that sometimes it's hard to find people in holistic health. You don't know who's legitimate. Maybe their website hasn't been updated in a while because that's not really their jam. So, their jam is helping people. They don't want to be bothered with HTML. So, Vino Soul is a solution for both the practitioner and the client in helping them find each other. So, go check that out. If you have anything you'd like to say about this podcast in particular, Vino Soul Talk, you can contact me and at the following email, talk@vinosoul.com. Love to get your feedback. I am always looking for new guests. So if you think that you might have something that our listeners would be interested in, hit me up. We're pretty open to the services, modalities, whatever kind of woo-woo, beautiful stuff that you're into. Get in touch with me. You can also find us vinosoultalk.com. And if you would prefer, you can get in touch with me on Instagram. My Instagram is wendypismagic. Okay, great. Now we got the business out of the way. On to the podcast. This was fun. This was the first time I took the podcast on the road, so to speak. I took my little studio setup from the in-home studio and took it to Whispers Metaphysical shop in Des Moines, Iowa. And I sat down in the event room at Whispers with Dr. Gayle Curtis and her husband Jim Curtis, who are the founders of Whisper. And we had a nice little chat. They offer so many services there, but I'll let them tell you about that on the podcast. And also, I took a little video that I'll be putting up on our social media channels some point after this podcast airs that will show you the shop as it is now, and they have all kinds of cool little stuff, anything that you can think of to tap into your spiritual or holistic side, they've got it. And they are working on renovating the building, and I'm so excited to see what they do in the future. So they have some good visions for the place. So I will get to the meat and potatoes now. Thank you again for listening. Enjoy the podcast with Gayle and Jim Curtis. Bye. right. You are listening to Vino Soul Talk. This is your host, Wendy P. And we are having a very special episode in-house at Whispers. It is a holistic and metaphysical shop in Des Moines, Iowa, in Sherman Hill, if you guys are familiar with Des Moines, in that cute little neighborhood I used to call home and I miss now that I'm down here. And I am sitting here with Jim and Gayle, Curtis, the owners of Whispers. So welcome to Vino Soul Talk.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm so excited. You guys are my first foray into a mobile podcast studio, and I didn't have anything to bring my stuff with me, so I just put it in a unicorn backpack that I have, and here we are.
It was amazing.
The magic of the internet and modern day. So thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me today, and I'm excited to learn more about your guys' shop. So what I usually do is just, turn it over to you guys, and you guys can tell me how Whispers came to be, or how you got into this plan, wherever you'd like to start. It'd be a childhood if you want, and if you had a weird experience, and then we can turn into a weird therapy session, or however you want to start it.
Well, we don't have enough time for therapy. Whispers was started in about 2012. I was finishing up my doctorate in naturopathic medicine, and I'd been a stay-at-home mom for 23 years. And Jim said to me, "You keep talking about doing this thing. Either do it or quit talking about it." And as a result, here we are.
So my path was a little different. I've been an IT guy for 35 to 40 years, and so I've always had a huge interest in energy in general, in what it is, how it works, how it affects people, how it affects things, and that's just kind of led me down this path.
Awesome.
Kicking and screaming every step of the way.
Yeah, for those that do not know, Jim and Gayle are a couple, correct?
Yes,
married couple. And joining businesses as a married couple presents its own kind of challenges, both to your relationship and the business, I'm sure.
Oh, it's... I'm never alone. He's never alone. It's all good.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really all good.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I mean, it interests me because, I always thought it would be cool to have that, partnership in life, and then that support from your partner in your business too, because a lot of people don't have that. Or a lot of people couldn't survive that, I think, too. Spending that much time together, I think, could be a strain for some people. But if you have the passion, right?
Well, and we have a lot of years behind us before we ever took this on.
Yeah.
Right? So there was a lot of things established there. And Gayle has her pocket of interests. I have mine. And, there's crossovers there.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of separation there, too.
Yeah, sure. Well, maybe we could talk about that a little bit, starting with Gayle, kind of what your background is in, your herbs, correct?
I'm a doctor of naturopathic medicine.
Naturopathic, okay.
Yeah.
And so maybe tell us a little bit about how you got into that and what you bring to the table, and then we can talk about Jim too.
I grew up on a mountain in Canada, and if we wanted to eat, we hunted and we gardened and we foraged.
Yeah.
So when I married an Iowa boy, my life changed drastically. And I kind of got away from it. I wanted to fit in the whole southern Iowa farm culture, which never really happened. Mm-hmm. And when I had kids, I kind of went back to, I want to fit in, yet I want to do this naturally. Mm-hmm. So that reignited my love of the land and the herbs. And started with a basic herb class. And it was mostly because we were raising dogs at the time. And I thought, if I can do better for my dogs, then that will transfer over.
Yeah.
And it just took off. And kids were heading into high school at that point. And I went back to school and said, I'm going to do this. And I quit at my dissertation, but that's a whole other story.
Well, I wouldn't mind getting into that, but if you don't want to, that's fine.
Oh, it was basically, I can't do this. I have to write this thing, and it's scaring me to death. And, I mean, Jim is my best lab rat and my biggest supporter. And between him and our son and our daughter saying you can do it, it turned from the required pages to 4 times longer than it needed to be to get me through.
Wow.
And I wasn't ready to quit, but knew I had to.
Well, you've come so far already. That's so great that your family supports you, because I feel like, especially in some of the alternative fields, that isn't always the case.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it's I think it's definitely changing. I feel that more and more people are interested in treating their whole self and not just not just taking a pill or getting cut open. And, I think it's so important that we're starting to kind of look at the whole picture. I would never advocate not to go to your doctor if you broke your leg or whatever, but, that's treating one part of you. And I think holistic is...
There's room for everybody.
Yeah.
Doctors are phenomenal at emergency medicine.
Mm-hmm.
I go to doctors. However, if I have a cold, I'm going to treat it with my herbs.
Yeah.
My kids have always said, if Mom can't fix it, we're going to die. However, when our son decided to cut his finger off, we took him to the doctor.
Right.
It's what you do. It's that common sense area.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think it's cool. And one of the things that I want to do with this podcast is spread the more information we can get out to people, the more that they know they have options to treat how they feel is best for them, whatever is ailing them. So it's really cool that you've been able to work into that, and that your family is supportive of that. So, Jim, what is your side of the holistic field? What have you brought to this Whispers operation?
So, a couple things. Growing up, my grandparents were farmers. I spent a lot of time on the farm. I see that reincarnated now, but now it's labeled as permaculture, getting back to soil health,
Mm-hmm.
using less chemicals in growing. That was just a normal way of life when I was growing up. And so it's kind of interesting to see that it's been respun. I did go out and get certified as a permaculture designer through Jeff Lawton's teachings. My interest there is more about initial land recovery and getting land that's been horribly abused, either through oversaturation of chemicals or erosion or whatever, and getting it back to stable soil life. The other piece of that is it kind of takes food production to what they call now beyond organic. Organic tends to not be all that it's cracked up to be, right or promoted.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond organics really gets into pasture-raised cattle, pigs, whatever, and food grown in bio-rich soil for that nutrient versus supplements.
Mm-hmm.
The other piece is the energy piece, right? Been a musician forever, and so I've dealt a lot with sound energy, but also as electronics tech and computers. That's brought me into that field as well. So that's taken me down a path of shamanic work.
Oh, that's very interesting.
And so that's now what I'm bringing into the shop is shamanic healing.
Mm-hmm. I just recently have been kind of introduced to even that term, shamanic healing and journey and all that stuff. So I'm very fascinated by that section because I'm a newbie to it and I don't know much about it. And I don't know that a lot of people do. So if you could maybe explain what shamanic healing is or shamanic journeying is for those that aren't familiar with it.
Sure. Shamanism has been around 60 to 80,000 years.
Yeah.
And it's very prevalent in virtually every culture in the world except here.
Yeah.
And Western culture has kind of suppressed all of those things.
Mm-hmm.
Typically, a shaman in a community would do ceremonies for a new life coming into the world. It would help people cross over at their death. They would do marriage ceremonies. They would do healing. It's very common in shamanism that if you have a physical ailment, it is directly tied to a spiritual disconnect or an energy disconnect. Shamanism looks at multiple realms.
Okay.
You'll see upper worlds, lower worlds. None of them are good or evil or anything like that. It's just a different space. We deal with healing people on an energetic level and getting those things in line. That can be from a current emotional or physical trauma. It can also be from past lives. It can be dealing with negative energy extraction to soul retrieval to helping unsettled energies cross over. There's a whole host of things in that pocket.
That's fascinating. So as far as the shop goes, do you offer private sessions in shamanic healing? Do you offer classes? What's the tie to the Whispers?
So we do have classes here. They're typically taught by Carol Mead.
Okay.
She's been doing shamanism for 25 or 30 years all over. She's amazing. I will do in-house sessions for people, not teaching, but healing sessions. That usually just means somebody comes in and says, I have this issue going on, and then we tend to try to assess what's really going on and is it really better dealt with through some herbs or through maybe some Reiki or a past life or shamanic, whatever route that is, and then we'll tailor those suggestions to that person.
Oh, okay. That sounds great. Like you come in and with the problem and you guys can kind of offer this whole holistic approach because you have the herbal side, the energy work side, and maybe like a program for...
Right. There's no one solution. It's not here, take this pill and it's going to be fixed.
Right.
Everybody's on their own path, and each path is different. Sometimes they merge, sometimes they don't. And so our whole goal is to meet each person where they are and help them on the next step.
That's great. That's so great that we have these kind of people like you in our community that we can come to and really treat the holistic problem. And I always find in my personal experience that people that are in the spiritual holistic realm also tend to be like the nicest. I don't know. People, I just, maybe just because they meditate a lot, I don't know, but they found they're treating their own stuff. So they're more open and helpful for an understanding of your own struggles because they've been there and dealt with them.
One thing I've found in doing various work is I do Reiki, I do the consultations with herbs, I do tarot readings, I do all sorts of different things. If you're open to it, everything you do to help somebody, there is a nugget of a lesson in there for you as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. I've only dabbled, I'm more of a spiritual enthusiast than a healer myself, but I am certified in Reiki and I have done some of that myself. And for me, I decided that it wasn't really something that I was going to pursue as a career, but I still have like a website and people find me maybe like every couple months and I do a session, and I just think that whoever needs me will find me and I can do that. But I've found that myself, like giving Reiki sessions with people, that it's like a meditation for me and I feel better.
Yeah.
And that's such an important lesson that you pointed out for a lot of things, even just charity work, you always get like a good feeling. And I could see where doing energy work and holistic stuff would be that way too. So it's a great point that you brought up. So what other kind of stuff that can people do here or expect if they want to come check out Whispers? It's like you've got so many things on the list here, but make sure we hit them all.
Oh my gosh, we've got all sorts of fun things in the shop.
Yeah.
We've got herbs, about 300 we're sitting at right now. We're about halfway to where we're going to be. We've got stones and crystals, new ones coming in all the time, all sorts of different incenses. It's not just your regular hem. We've got that, but we've also got different brands of incense. We've got 29 different varieties of sage. There is more to smudging than white sage. So come in, and the common question is, what flavor would you like? And then what's going on, and we can direct you to the specific sage that you need at that point. Candles. I mean, what type of metaphysical shop doesn't have candles? And we've got all sorts of them. Books, of course, tarot and oracle cards. We've got some singing bowls out there. We've got jewelry. What other fun things do we have out there that I'm missing?
Our sarcasm.
Oh, that's just all day, every day. Yeah, there is that.
So that's kind of typical metaphysical shop.
Yeah.
I tend to refer our shop as kind of a 50-50 split store.
Okay.
So half of the business is kind of typical metaphysical shop. Mm-hmm. The other half is really more oriented towards natural health alternatives. Mm-hmm. So whether that's a replacement or a supplement to your normal pharmaceuticals, mm-hmm. lifestyle, health food choices, spiritual guidance, whatever that is, right?
Yeah.
To help you get that mind, body, spirit in balance. Mm-hmm. That's the other half of the equation. If you don't have those three in balance, things just aren't going to go quite right for you. We also have, quote, services, right? So we can do, whether Gayle does it, I do it, or we bring certain people in to do certain things. We could do Reiki, quantum touch, shamanic healing. We have a gal that comes in and does like esoteric healing and past life regressions.
Oh, okay.
We're working on getting a couple gals in that does astrology because that just is not in my wheelhouse. Right?
Yeah.
And that's another thing. I don't think you can be really good at everything.
No.
Right?
Yeah, there's too many.
If it's something we're really comfortable with, we'll do that. If not, we know a lot of folks that we're comfortable referring to or bringing them in. And then we also have classes all the time. We've got this space that we're in right now that we have drumming every Sunday. It's based on West African street drumming. So that's Drum Day is Fun Day, right?
Drum Day is Fun Day, yeah.
We have tarot classes that just finished up. We have Gayle does herb classes generally once a month. Josh comes in, we'll do room classes a couple times a year. Carol comes in and does shamanic classes. We're always looking for more things to bring in. Depends on what people are looking for.
Sure. The classroom is available
to rent out.
To rent out as well, and people do that.
And you know, he missed a couple things. We do the naturopathic consultations. One of the main things I do, people come to me and say, "Look at all these meds. How do I get off of them?" And so we work with them. My goal is to make it so they don't need me. We do hand fastings and weddings. We do spiritual guidance. We do tarot and root readings as well.
Okay. So if somebody wants to come and seek your guidance, how would they go about doing that? Do they set up a consultation and that's the starting point?
Sometimes people come in and it's just a quick question. I feel really weird. What's going on? So that we just do out in the shop. If it's more in-depth, then yes, call the shop. It number's 288-1366, and we can absolutely set up an appointment with whoever you feel you need to talk to, or if you don't know, we'll just kind of sit down and see which direction it needs to go.
Okay. That's great. And do you guys have a digital presence, a website I can send people to?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yeah, we have a website, and we're also on Facebook as well.
Okay.
And we also, if you sign up, we send out a little small newsletter piece roughly once a month that has a little blurb about what's going on in the shop and then a calendar of events for that month.
Yeah. That's an email newsletter or
it's an email
paper?
newsletter. Yep.
Okay.
And the website is www.whispersherbal.com.
Very cool. So what's coming up next? Like if the next thing that, your plans for the future, because I know you guys are doing a lot. You're in progress, in transit right now for bigger and better things.
So the plans for the future are to finish the remodel on the other half of the building and get the retail side moved over there, which opens up a secondary classroom and consultation room.
We also have a rock and crystal show coming up.
Okay.
Next weekend.
And that's going to be here?
That will be here right after Thanksgiving, the Friday and Saturday, so you can avoid all that Black Friday mess and come in here and play with stones. And Michael, one of the people who's coming in, does astrology, tarot, intuitive readings, and so he's going to be offering readings for those 2 days as well.
Nice, and that's Black Friday and the Saturday after?
10 to 6.
Which is Small Business Saturday, right? So
Right.
come out and support your local business in that. And this will be out before that, so I'll make sure to promote that too.
And then we also, one of our goals when we did the shop was to really engage the community more. There seems to be some disconnects out there. And so we're starting to do seasonal-based gatherings. We did one around Halloween. We're going to do one around Christmas or Yule. Fairly generic, open to the public type events, right? We're also working on getting a shamanic drum circle set up that we'll probably do once a month as well. There's usually something going on here once a month, or at least once a week on the weekends.
We have sound healing sessions once a month. They'll come back in January. They've taken a couple months off.
Okay.
But it's absolutely amazing. We've got a sound healer that comes in with drums and singing bowls and all sorts of things, and you bring your pillow and your blanket and you find a spot and just sit back and relax and enjoy the healing for an hour.
Yeah, those are so much fun.
Yeah.
I've only been able to go to a handful of them, but I don't know who the person that you bring in, but Deb Jennings is one that does it in the community. She's wonderful.
Deb's
Gone to
amazing.
a few of hers, and a yoga studio in Ankeny. A friend of mine, Amy Schoen, does them there too. And yeah, it's so wonderful. Like, it sounds so simple, but you feel great afterwards.
Walking on air. Linda Foster facilitates ours, and this woman has the most amazing energy. She's just one of those people that gets it, you know?
Yeah. Is Linda Foster the one that used to own Ritual?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, I'm familiar with her through... She does drum and circles
Yes.
too and
Yeah,
stuff.
she teaches drumming on Sundays here as
Yeah,
well.
I should get her on here too.
You should.
Yeah,
You
she's
really should.
great. My band played for her when she still owned Ritual. And then I wanted to play there again because I love that space, and she's like, I don't own it anymore.
Yeah.
But I loved that. It's still a nice place.
It's a great place,
Nothing against it now that Linda's not involved, but I was kind of bummed that she wasn't because she was great. But so all those people in the community, you just give me a bunch of ideas. I need to talk to them too.
Absolutely. You know, it's amazing how interconnected we all are when we start talking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the like I said, I'm kind of a newbie, and that's one of the things that's so fun about this for me is that I'm getting to meet and like really sit down with people like yourselves that are in the community, and I can learn more, and I can use your services, and for my own selfish reasons, it's super fun. But also just like the referrals that have been coming in and all that have been really great.
Yeah, fantastic. You know, some of the things we see, being here all day, every day, we see a lot of people coming in that with the energy shift, they have empathic tendencies and they have no idea what's going on. So we're able to guide them and give them some tools to manage that on a daily basis, which is just amazing.
For our listeners that maybe don't know what that means, could you explain what empathic tendencies are?
An empath feels everything around them all the time. And they can go from happy to sad to absolutely irate within a 3-minute period. And none of it's their emotion. It's the person who didn't get his order right at the drive-thru. It's somebody 3 miles away who's having a horrible day. They just lost somebody they loved. And it channels through them. So they feel everything all the time. And tools to slow that down are amazing.
Yeah, and to protect yourself. And you're right, a lot of people have no idea that they might be an empath.
Yeah.
And that's why they're experiencing these shifts or these troubling emotions that don't seem to be attached to anything happening in their life.
Right. They come in and they say, this is going to sound crazy. And the standard reply is, oh, crazy stops at the door.
That I hear that a lot too. Like, this is going to sound crazy. I'm like, what is crazy anymore? I don't know that you could really shock me too much anymore.
Well, yeah. there are some things, but crazy stops at the door. It's if we haven't heard it, then it'll give us something to ponder for a while we try and figure out how to help you.
Yeah. And those are the stories that I want to hear anyway. This is going to sound crazy? Great. Yeah. Please tell me the story.
Exactly. No, you won't believe this. Oh, honey, that's the third one I've heard this day. So.
Yeah, I can imagine that you guys probably do get a lot of that in here.
We do, and it's amazing people trust us with it because a lot of places you've got people saying you need a padded room. But no, you don't. If it feels real, it is real.
Yeah.
Nothing is discounted. Mm-hmm. You know, it's just that my dog stood on his head singing the national anthem. Fantastic. That's what you saw, so that's where we are. Yeah. And that's your path, and I'm not here to judge that. Right. I'm here to help you.
Yeah, that's such a great perspective, I think. This keeps coming up again and again as I talk to people on this podcast, but just because something's in your head, quote unquote, right. That doesn't make it unreal because it's happening.
It is happening.
So that's real. Thoughts are real.
Yes.
Your experience, even if maybe that's not the same reality that someone else is experiencing, you are.
Yeah.
And to discount it as being not reality,
right.
That's crazy.
It is.
And it's not helpful.
And unfortunately, in our society, people want to medicate it. Mm-hmm. Let's not help you through it, get you to that next level. Mm-hmm. Let's suppress it. And that just doesn't do anything but compound the problem.
Right. And then it usually manifests itself in something physical.
Yes.
Learning more and more, like, in my talking to this and in my own life, just trying to be like, okay, I have this physical thing, but could there be an emotional reason I'm feeling that way, or
it's connected to the spiritual reason you're feeling that way, which could be an overlay from a previous life. Mm-hmm. It could be from thousands of years ago.
Yeah.
But they're all interconnected, and by unraveling one, you open the next for healing. Mm-hmm. And it does all work together.
Yeah, that's so exciting I think, to unravel that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
It can be. But the thing is, most people try and do it all at once.
Yeah.
And you can't.
No.
You start with one piece. Mm-hmm. It's, how many times do you sabotage yourself on a diet or trying to gain a new skill? I want to do it all at once. Mm-hmm. And then you make one mistake and, well, I ruined it all. No, you didn't. You made a mistake.
Yeah.
Start slower. It takes 30 days to build a habit. You can't start everything overnight and be perfect at it. Start on step one. And it might be simple, and it might sound stupid, and it might be boring, but that's where you start. And then the next step you take is step 2. Mm-hmm. And then by the time you get to step 5, you're still not ready to jump to step 15.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of us make the mistake. Mm-hmm. So when we start to unravel these things, we start with one thing. And it might be, I can't sleep at night. Well, there's a few questions that we ask around that. Mm-hmm. And we get it so you can sleep at night. And then we go to the next step. Mm-hmm. What's the next piece? Are you ready for that next piece?
Yeah, that's a great point. I mean, I think we've all done that.
Oh, yeah.
We want to, New Year's resolutions are a perfect example, of course. Tomorrow my diet starts. Tomorrow I'm going to do all these things for my business. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow, and it's all at once, and that's just setting yourself up for failure.
And then you can say, well, I tried and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So that in itself is, why are you sabotaging yourself? Mm-hmm. And that's a hard one to get your head around.
Yeah.
Because most people say, no, I'm not. Well, there's a reason you don't feel you need to have that healing or that joy or whatever it is that you're keeping yourself from getting. And that's where that unraveling starts.
Yeah, and that's where the real challenge comes, right?
It is. It's not easy and it's not fun. But the rewards are there and they're amazing.
Uh-huh. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, it comes back to, it's weird because it's always coming back to like these same simple themes, but like we have to be reminded about it so much. And that's why it's so helpful to have people outside of you just tell you what you already know a lot of times. But you just, we're social creatures. We need that affirmation maybe sometimes from, the people that are more equipped at dealing with it. And we're also not great at like recognizing stuff in ourselves, I think.
One of the things I put, I'm going to paraphrase it, but I put it on the newsletter this month.
Yeah.
We all have these dreams and we want to chase these dreams, but we forget to take a really good look at what we have and how far we've come. Mm-hmm. And that is as important as looking forward and saying, this is where I want to be in 5 years. look back as well. Where were you 5 years ago? Mm-hmm. Look how far you've come in that 5 years. That is part of that dream. And we forget that because this is where we are. And this is what I have, so I want the next step.
Yeah.
Live every minute. Enjoy what you've got. It's not always about the stuff. It's about the connections, and it's about being okay where you are at any particular moment.
Yeah.
And that's a hard thing to get to.
Yeah, I mean, it's a balance, like, as a business owner myself, and, you know, I'm have my hands in all these things, but I forget, like, how far I've come. I'm always thinking about the next thing, and it's hard for me sometimes to feel like when I'm giving gratitude that I'm not ambitious enough. You know?
Right.
But that's part of it. Like, that was a great way that I like what you said. Like, that is part of you working towards your dream, like, already. Mm-hmm. And if you don't recognize that, how can you move on to the next step? So I like that. It's a good way of putting it.
Well, and I'm not saying spend all your time looking backwards, because then you never go anywhere.
Right.
But acknowledge your accomplishments.
Yeah.
Because that, to me, is important, you know? And having gotten a doctorate in my 50s, and being not embarrassed, I'm very proud of that fact. Mm-hmm. But I don't throw it out there. It's not, you have to call me doctor. Mm-hmm. Jim's always saying, no, you earned it. And it took 2 years for me to be comfortable with people calling me doctor.
Yeah.
And now I have clients that call me Dr. Hippie Chick. So I'm totally good with that.
I love that. I think that's what I'm going to call you from here on out.
That's totally fine.
I love it. Dr. Hippie Chick.
You have to call Jim the Muggle, though.
The Muggle.
We affectionately refer to him as the Muggle because he tries to make sense out of things that sometimes you just can't.
Yeah.
And he's come so far. And so we call him the Muggle, but he's the most magical Muggle you'll ever meet.
I love that. I love Harry Potter anyway.
Yeah.
Isn't that a treat? This is totally off topic, but I'm really excited because we're going to Orlando next week and I get to go to the Wizarding World.
Oh, fun.
Yeah. I'm really excited. My boyfriend's son is in the band, and we're going to go watch him at Disney World. And I said, we're there, we have to go to Universal so I can go see Harry Potter.
Right. You got to.
You got to, right? Yeah. So
yeah.
I'm super excited about that. So, yeah. All right. I want to make sure that we get all your things. Again, the website, whispersherbal.com. And you guys are on Facebook under Whispers Heal Your World?
I think that's the easiest way to find it,
Okay,
yes.
You should be able to find it by looking up Whispers Des Moines, I would imagine.
I would think so.
Or Whispers Metaphysical Shop. Let's see. So if someone is interested, they have a gift that they would like to share in your space, an energy worker or somebody that wants to do classes. How should they go about getting in touch with you?
We invite them to call the shop.
Okay.
Again, the number is 288-1366. Simply because we never know when we're going to be busy, so we can't always just stop what we're doing to look at things or show you the space.
Sure.
So call and we'll make an appointment to show you the space, see what you're all about, see if it's a good fit for all of us. Mm-hmm. We absolutely encourage people who do the same modalities as us to come in. Mm-hmm. I do Reiki, but I do Reiki different than you do Reiki.
Sure.
It feels different for everybody. And there's plenty of room. You know, it's a case of people find the person that they like their energy or their touch or the way they go about it. Mm-hmm. So absolutely we'd love to have anybody that would like to call, make an appointment to come in and look at the space. We do charge for the space. Mm-hmm. But it's a nominal fee, and there's 3 or 4 different ways we can work that out. And you know what? We forgot to mention we've got a Reiki 1 attunement class coming in December.
Okay.
And that's on the Facebook page and the website.
Do you know what the date is?
Not right offhand. I think it's the second Saturday.
Okay. In December.
Yeah,
go and check out Whispers. I already looked.
Whispersherbal.com.
Whispers Herbal. I wanted to say healing, which would also be appropriate. But.
It would, yes. There's a calendar on the website, and it lists everything that we've got coming up on that.
Okay, awesome. I'm going to have to check that out. Carolyn, who is the one that referred you guys, correct?
Yes.
She was telling me about all the classes that were coming up here, and I'm like, I got to check that out.
Yeah, it's a busy couple months.
Yes. But that's awesome. I love that that's available
Yeah.
and to this community, because I think we need it, and I think more and more people are finding interest in that. And so I think it's great that you guys have a space for that. And I know people are always looking for spaces to do their classes too. So
Right. And we're open to pretty much any classes people want to bring in.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, I mean, even if it's not necessarily like in the realm, this would still be a cool, I mean, this neighborhood is so cute, and it's centralized. We're close to downtown, and you know, it's a nice old building with a lot of character, and yeah, I love this neighborhood. I think it's so cute.
Yeah, there's lots going on down here,
and so yeah, check it out. If you're looking for a place to host an event, this would be a good spot. And for everybody that's listening, I'm going to do a little virtual tour with Gayle and Jim. Dr. Hippie Chick and Jim, the Muggle. Dr. Hippie Chick and the Muggle. That should be the name of your guys' podcast. I'm trying to get you guys to do a podcast too, because I think I will listen to it.
You know, we get going back and forth, and he'll say something really sciencey, and I'm just, believe you, Muggle. Yeah, it gets very amusing when we get going back and forth.
Yeah, I can see that. You guys have a good chemistry, and
this is not our first time. We have done this many times.
Yes, but I love to see that that partnership, and like couples that like each other, which is a weird thing to say, because you know, you think that you like your spouse, but so many people I think are in love, and it's a little more rare to like them.
Absolutely.
Do you know what I'm saying?
You know, Jim really nailed it on the head one day. Mm-hmm. We were talking, and he said, well, we're comfortable. And yes, the love is there, and yes, the like is there. But he's right. I can tell him, I don't like you right now, go away. And he's just, oh, okay. And he can do the same thing. And it's not that there's anything major going on. It's just, you're on my last nerve, and I'm going to hurt you. But it goes both ways.
Yeah.
And you get to a point in a relationship where you are just comfortable. Mm-hmm. You know someone's got your back. They're always going to be there, and that's what it is.
Yeah.
So the teasing is there. The sarcasm is there. All of it.
Yeah, I think a good sarcasm is a key to a healthy relationship. Because it's sometimes a healthy way to fight or verbalize your annoyances without being too direct, or maybe not direct, but too mean.
Well, there's fair fighting and there's nasty fighting.
Yeah.
And you got to fight fair.
Yeah.
No hitting below the belt. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah. Maybe the next step is marriage counseling from Dr. Hippie Chick and the Muggle. I can see it.
I don't know about that. We have a very twisted sense of humor. So.
Well, I enjoy that. So, but maybe I'm a little dark too. Oh, I know I am.
It works for us.
Yeah. That's great. Well, I don't know if we should wait for Jim to come back. Was there anything else that we didn't talk about that you want to make sure you get out to the listeners?
I don't think so. We talked about the shop. We talked about services. Mm-hmm. We covered things that we're hoping to bring in, and we're always open to new suggestions. If anybody has any, that'd be great.
Okay. And how about your hours, if people want to stop into the shop?
Okay. Wednesday through Saturday, 10 to 6. We are open later if we have classes going, but that's a hit or miss, so always call after 6. Mm-hmm. Sunday is 11 to 4. Okay. And we're closed Monday and Tuesday right now because I insist on having 2 days that I don't have to think about work.
That is fair. That is good to have a work-life balance.
Yes.
So, thank you so much for coming.
Well, thanks for bringing everything down.
Yeah, of course. It was fun. And, like I said, we're going to do a little virtual tour on my phone, and I'll post that with the podcast so that you guys can see what's going on in here and how cute everything is. And I wish I could send the smell, because it smells fantastic in here. The minute I walked in, I'm like, oh, yeah. I love it. All the incense and the herbs.
Well, then Jim's busy with customers at the moment, which it's good for him.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, we'll wait till they're out of here invade anyone's privacy, but I just want everyone to know to look for that, because I'm going to post that too, because I think to get to view. So thank you so much for sitting down with me, and best of luck to you. I hope we keep in touch.
Thank you. I think that'd be great.
Yeah.
Hope to see a lot of people come in.
Yeah, come in and take some classes. I'm gonna check it out. Get on your mailing list so I can come down sometime. I'm curious about the drumming. Is that something you can just like drop in most of the classes, or do you have to sign up?
No, most of them, we like you to call so we know how many people are coming. The drumming class, if you do not have a drum, we do ask that you call, so we'll have one here for you.
Okay.
And the drumming class is most every Sunday. It's very rarely she takes a day off. Mm-hmm. And the beginning class starts at 1, and it's $15 for the hour.
Okay.
But if you don't have a drum, as I said, call, and we'll be sure there's one here for you to use.
Okay.
And then we have an intermediate class after that, but you have to take so many beginning drum classes first, and I leave that up to her because I am so musically illiterate. It's not even funny. So it's great to listen to, even if you don't want to take the class. Mm-hmm. Stop in and listen, because it's amazing, and there is that healing effect that happens, and we have a good time in the shop on Sundays.
Yeah, that sounds super fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you guys are in the Des Moines area, or you find yourself in the Des Moines area on a Sunday, you should come check it out. So I think, sounds like fun. I mean, I am a musician, so that sounds right up my
you
my
see
alley.
The wall of drums behind you.
Yes, yeah, we'll have to take a look at that too. So, yeah, again, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Doctor, and thank you for listening.